Okay. And if you don't, this isn't really math. This is like more science, but it's actually applied in foods, cooking. Because if you need half a cup of butter and you don't have a nice butter stick where you can actually got the measurements on there, you can cut a half, say you got a tub of margarine. If you don't know this, what are you going to do? You're going to scoop it out with a spoon, try to cram it in some measuring cup, right? Half a cup. Try to cram it in there nice and flat with your spatula. Make sure you got no air pockets in there. Okay, 5 minutes later, okay, looks like half a cup. Now you're going to try to scoop it all out and put it in, try to get it off the end of the spatula into the bowl. And you're always going to have some left in here. Are you exactly getting half a cup? No, probably not. And if you do, well, it takes a long time. All you need to do is get a jar of water, put it at, say, 1.5 cups, scoop out some butter, stick it to the end of a spoon, plop it in there. When this water rises up to exactly 2 cups, you got a half a cup of butter stuck on the spoon. Okay? That's a lot easier. And the water doesn't stick to the butter. Now you can take it and get it off the spoon into the bowl. That's water displacement. It's cool, but, we're not going to worry about that. Surface area and volume for a sphere. Who says sphere really nice and cool like that? Sphere? Is it a sphere? Sphinx? Is it a sphinx or a sphinx? Okay, this isn't English. We should really already know how to do that. Because, like I said, for 5 times, let's make it 6. I don't care what shape we're talking about. The process is exactly the same. A, look at what shape they're talking about. Okay, today it's a sphere. B, is it volume or is it surface area? Look on your formula sheet. You have every one of the every one of the formulas for volume and surface area. Okay, the process is the same. There's the 2 formulas. Don't worry about where this came from. Okay, but don't make a mistake. Lots of people, volume of a sphere, they want to put a 2 here. Don't. 3 dimensions, right? Length times width times height, that's volume. R times R times R. 3 dimensions, that's volume. Okay? 2 dimensions, surface area. Okay? Square units, cubed units. Okay? That's it. Now, if this was grade 8 or 9, I would give you a radius and say, what's the volume? I'd give you a radius and say, what's the surface area? But this isn't grade 8 or 9, it's grade 10. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to give you the volume and say, what's the radius? We're going to give the volume and really confuse you and say, what's the diameter of that sphere? Okay? Remember, radius is always from the center to the edge. Diameter goes from one side of the ball to the other side of the ball through the dead center. Okay? I don't care if it's a circle or a sphere, it's the same thing. Right? That's the radius. This whole thing is a diameter. Okay? And we're not just going to say a sphere, we're going to say half a sphere, hemisphere. Anyone's parents got a hemi in their Dodge? Cool. Why do they call it a hemi? Because way back in the 60s, the top of the combustion chamber looked like that. And they put the spark plug dead on top. And it made, for the same volume of gas and air, made a lot more horsepower than some of the other engine designs, like a wedge, okay, where the spark plug was over here, like the piston comes up and down like that, right? Here's the piston coming up and down. It's called a hemi head, hemispherical combustion chamber. The name's still stuck. Hemisphere, half of a sphere, okay? So, semicircle is half of a circle, hemisphere, half of a sphere. You just need to know that term if you see it. How does that affect what we're doing? Okay? This is the whole sphere. If I hack it in half, I got half of it. You got to think, how does that change the volume? Got one right here. Sorry it's so small. If I fill this thing, cut a little hole in it, and fill it full of water or sand, that's the volume. It's 4/3 pi r cubed. If I cut it in half, is that just half of the water that this whole thing contained? Okay, does that make sense? It is. That's fine. But when I'm talking surface area, I'm going to wrap this ball. Okay, it's a Ferrero Rocher. I'm going to give it to my teacher for Christmas because you guys love me so much. Okay, that's great. That's how much paper I need. What's the formula? It's on the top. Okay, that's it. 4 pi r squared. If you know the radius, you know the surface area. But this one's a little trickier. If I split it in half and I need to wrap this, if I just wrap half of that, I have the bottom part. What about that? So surface area, this is a difficult concept for a lot of kids. I'm cutting it at half, but I have to add something, okay? I have the whole surface area divided by 2. That's the bottom part of this sphere. But I need to add this. What's that shape? It's a circle. I need to add a pi r squared if I'm just going to wrap this thing. Okay? So the volume is 1/2 4/3 pi r cubed. That's it. For volume, it's easy. Just holds half as much water. But for surface area, I have the curved surface area. That's this part, right? So that is half of 4 pi r squared, right? Half of this formula. But I need to add what? I need to add this guy, right? Because now I got to coat this part as well if I'm going to wrap this whole thing in paper. And the area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay? Now this, I mean, they are going to say, well, what's half of 4? It's 2. So this is 2 pi r squared. That's 1 pi r squareds. How many pi r squareds do I have? Yes, it's 3 pi r squareds. Okay? But that formula is not on your formula sheet. So don't, I mean, if you're a good memorizer, if you're photographic, well, you already got it, right? But I don't think any of us are. So don't worry about this so much. Just the thinking's what's important. Look at the picture. I need to take half of the surface area of the whole thing, and I need to add on a circle, a pi r squared. Do that in 2 steps, add them together, you get the same thing. All right? That's about it, guys. A couple of examples. Candy used a rope to wrap around the outer edge of a beach ball. Okay? What did she do that for? What is that going to tell us? If I take a rope and I wrap it around the outside of the ball, remember we've seen this before, what is that going to give us? It will. If I take that rope and I lay it flat, that's going to be the perimeter of the ball, also known as circumference. Okay? She determined that to be 108 centimeters. That's the circumference. Okay? What do I want to know? I want to know the volume of the ball. Okay? 1, what shape am I talking about? A sphere. 2, what do I need? The volume. What's the formula? 4/3 pi r cubed. The only thing I need to get the volume is a what? I just need r. But I'm not given r. Can I get r from a circumference? Probably. I hope so. Is this formula on your formula sheet? It is. It's on there somewhere. Okay, you don't have to memorize that, but you got to understand what circumference is. Okay, so from this, I need to solve this for r, and then I'm going to substitute that r in here, and then it's just a calculator exercise. Okay, I got to solve this for r. It says 2 times pi times r. How do I get rid of 2 times pi? Divide it away. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other side. 2 divided by 2 is 1, not 0. Pi divided by pi is 1. What's 1 times r? It's just r, right? 108 over 2. Can I simplify that? How many times does 2 go in 108? Good man. Okay? Now lots of you would want to make that a decimal. Don't. Okay? That's what r is. Plug it right there. My volume is 4/3 pi. Let's use a different color for substitution. R is 54 over pi cubed. Why didn't I want to make that a decimal? Because it's an approximation. They want this to the nearest tenth of a centimeter cubed. Now everybody can put that in your calculator. And even back here, could I put that in my calculator? Sure. I'm just going to show you the difference. 108 divided by 2 divided by pi, everything on the bottom you divide, is 17.1887335. That's not even exact. That's just as many decimals as this thing's going to give. What would most people do? They would go, let's do, I know how to round, 17.2. Okay? That's r. If I put that back in here, my volume is 4 divided by 3 times pi times r cubed to the power of 3, not 33. Okay? That's not the answer. I just want to show you that 21314.4 to the nearest tenth. 21314.4. Hold that thought. Now let's do this one. Okay, 54 divided by pi equals that. Take that cubed, that's r cubed, times pi times 4 divided by 3. Does that even look remotely close to this number? That's why we don't want to make it a decimal. It's way off. Because it's not just r that's off. Now you're taking r and cubing it. So your error is compounded like 5-fold, 6-fold, whatever. Okay? That's a huge difference. Right? That's like 60 cubic centimeter difference. All right? This is the answer. That's what we want. 21272.6 centimeters cubed to the 10th. Okay? Not that. Not that. All right? Now, if you're thinking to yourself, what the heck's he doing? I don't like this. You could still make this a decimal. That's okay. But make sure you use all of these, at least 4 of them. It still might be off by a tenth, but at least you're closer. Okay? Write the whole number down. You can still do it that way. Okay? But this is the big kid way of doing it. If I'm building a bridge, okay, in this country, we use this number. And everybody lives. Okay? Some guy who got a degree in engineering from the bottom of their Cracker Jacks box in India does this method. And the bridge falls down and people die. Okay? That's the difference. Anybody want to be an engineer? Yeah? All right. then you're not going to use a decimal. Okay, one more. The volume of a basketball, let's change this just to centimeters, okay? You guys need to look. If I'm giving you, I don't know, some problem to figure out on your test, the first thing you should do, because you're going to get one of these, I may as well say it now, is what? You notice something here? I want my answer in cubic centimeters. Look at the units. If they're not all the same, you need to make them the same. Okay? So this is conversion into centimeters, then multiply, if that's volume, the three together. Let's make this one a little easier and change it to centimeters. Okay? I want the radius. First thing, what shape are we talking about? No, basketball. Yes. Basketball, okay? It kind of looks like a baseball, whatever. Okay? Then what? Look up the formula. Is it volume or surface area? Because if you do that part wrong, guys, that's the process. All the good math you do is useless. You could calculate the surface area perfectly. If it asks you for the volume, it's wrong. Okay? Shape, yes, sphere. Volume, what's the formula? Look it up. 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay? If I gave you the radius, this would be grade 9. Yeah, I'm not giving you the radius. We need to find the radius. I'm giving you the volume. Now, I'm not telling you how to do this. You can solve this thing for r first. I've already done that. I did this yesterday. Or you can put in the number first. I've already solved this thing for r. Let's try putting in the number first, okay? I'll show you another way to do this. So put in the number 4/3 pi r cubed, okay? I gotta solve this sucker for r. Is 4/3 times pi just a number? Sure it is. Let's do that first, because some of us are kind of confused. How do I get rid of 4/3? What's the trick again? Just remind us. Times it by the reciprocal. Yeah, okay, but I did that yesterday. You know what? That's just a number. What is it? What is 4 divided by 3 times pi? You can do this, but make sure you take lots and lots of decimals, because when I'm solving for r, I'm going to have to take the cube root of it. And if I make an error, it's going to be way off, okay? This is, what? 4.18879. 4.18879. The next one's a 0, so that should be okay. I've got 5 digits here, okay? That is what this is. Times r cubed is 433.5. Does that look a little nicer? Do we know what to do to solve this for r? Okay. This is 4.18879 times r cubed. How do I get rid of this number? What's the opposite of times? Divide. Whatever you do to one side, gotta do to the other side. Messy. Okay, this is another way to do it. That divided by itself is 1. So r cubed is, what's this? Divided by that number. 4.1889 is 103. Get a lot of decimals. This isn't my answer. I'm not rounding it yet. 48. Sorry? Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay, let's redo it. 4, 3, 3. I forgot to write it there. That's why. There's a 7 in here. All right, 4.18879. And you can see it's different, isn't it? That one little 7 makes all the difference in the world. Okay, 103.4905. Okay, that should be good, because the next digit after 5 is a 0, too. I could round that up to 1 if I wanted, okay? Let's do that. Why not? More the better. That's r cubed. How do I get r? Take the cubed root. Math. Cubed root of that, of the answer. If you can't do that on your calculator, okay, write that, take that, put all those digits in there. 4.69, that's r, right? How do I want my answer? Does it say tenths, hundredths, the nearest centimeter? It says the nearest centimeter. How do I want to put this answer? It's 5, right? The nearest centimeter, r is 5 centimeters. Hey, I'm done my test. I got 15 minutes. What do you want to do?
It's not 5,733 centimeters.
Yeah, don't worry about, yeah. I'm just changing this centimeters, cubed, centimeters, okay? Because I never taught you how to convert, well, I did, kind of, but not really. Okay, don't worry about it. I'm not going to give you a question like that, okay? This I will, and if you have an area, remember, because I know this is on the test too, I want that in centimeters squared. What do we do first? Convert first before you multiply, okay? But I'm not going to give you cubed and then say convert that, okay? That's not going to be on it. I could check this. What's 4/3 times pi times 5 times 5 times 5? Better be pretty close to that number. If it's not, you did something wrong, okay? All right, 1, A, B, D, 3, 10, 11, 2 is a complex shape, okay? That should be 15 to 20 minutes. Everybody should start work on that review package at like 10:30, 10:35. Sorry?
And when you put 5 into that equation, it equals 5.3.
Yeah, it's quite a bit off, isn't it? Try 4.69, it'll be a lot closer.